Daniel Sports Central, we go over a college football game preview and prediction on the Week 1 matchup between the North Dakota Fighting Hawks and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. North Dakota, first game of the season, and they're taking on Nebraska on the road. Nebraska being a team that has already taken a brutal loss in the 2022 season. Nebraska lost to Northwestern in Ireland last week, and they're already 0-1 to start off the season. And I mean, considering how the game went, it just was a whole repeat of what we saw quite a bit in 2021. But this is the game to turn things around, and we'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today. Games be on Saturday, September 3rd in Lincoln. So Nebraska being at home in this matchup, 2:30 p.m. is your kickoff. Spread's going Nebraska here by 22.5. So obviously, with it being Nebraska against an FCS opponent, Nebraska is going to be favored by quite a bit, as they should be. 22.5 points is the spread for this matchup. Over-under is 49, and the FPI is going Nebraska 97.9%. So Nebraska is also very heavily favored in the FPI. Series history, Nebraska leads at 1-0. That game was in 1961. So we have seen these two teams play each other, even though it was over 60 years ago. But, I mean, this is also, I will mention about this matchup, too, for Nebraska. I mean, this is a huge game for them here. I mean, this is their chance to turn things around before the schedule gets much tougher. I mean, they got this matchup in Georgia Southern in Week 2, and then they got OU coming to town in Week 3, which is obviously not a game that's going to be easy. That's going to be a tough game there, going up against a good Oklahoma football team. So, I mean, this is a chance for Nebraska to get things straight and get things right before they head into a tougher, obviously, conference schedule and also the Oklahoma game. But for North Dakota, they were 5-6 last season. And something you'll notice about these two teams here, if you look at their schedules from last season, both teams had very similar seasons. North Dakota 5-6, but this team was better than the record showed. They were 5-6 last year, but they played several very close games and took several really close losses. I mean, they kept it close against North Dakota State, multiple other teams that were pretty good in the FCS last season, almost made the playoffs, but they didn't quite. So, I mean, North Dakota 5-6 last year, maybe not the best record, but this is a team that had several, once again, tough, close losses. They were better than their record showed last season. And so, I mean, this is obviously not a game you want to sleepwalk going into if you're in Nebraska, because FCS teams can beat FBS teams. It's happened many, many times in the past. So, I mean, it's not a common thing. And for Nebraska, I mean, they got to be ready to go in this matchup, especially considering, I mean, this is just a huge matchup to get things on track once again as they head into the thick of their schedule here. But Tommy Schuster, he is starting at quarterback for North Dakota. Nebraska took a brutal loss to Northwestern in Week 0 once again. Just a disappointing game. I mean, if you look at Nebraska, they had 2 11-point leads in that matchup, and then Scott Frost decides to do an onside kick after going up 11 somewhere in the middle of the third quarter. So, yeah, just a brutal decision looking back on it, because Nebraska didn't even score a single point after that onside kick. So, I mean, Nebraska being a team that has struggled to close out games in the past. I mean, 2021, that was the common theme for Nebraska. They were 3-9, and that 2021 team in Nebraska is now widely considered the best 3-9 college football team of all time. That is not a title to be thrilled about. I mean, this is a Nebraska team that was talented last season, and I think they're even better this year. I think this is a Nebraska team that is even more talented in 2022, and they had no business losing that game to Northwestern in Week 0. I mean, Northwestern is not a very good not a very good team. I mean, their quarterback, Ryan Helinski, is, he was probably the worst quarterback in the Big Ten last season, if not one of. So, I mean, Nebraska, this is a team that you got to turn things around here. Got to get a nice win here, and then if you beat Georgia Southern, you're 2-1 heading into Oklahoma. You probably feel decent about heading into that OU matchup. But if you lose this game, almost a guarantee. I mean, Scott Frost, he has to be gone. So, I mean, I'm pretty confident Nebraska's going to win this game, but considering how things have gone the past couple of years, I mean, you never know with Nebraska. So, they need to build a significant lead early. That is probably the one key point I will mention about Nebraska in this matchup. Got to build a nice early lead. I mean, if you can get up by 2-3 touchdowns in the first quarter, that will go a long way in this matchup. I mean, Nebraska in close games, close games is Nebraska's kryptonite right now. I mean, if it's a close matchup heading into the fourth quarter, North Dakota is within maybe a touchdown or so, or even leading, I mean, Nebraska's they might be in big trouble in that situation. So, I mean, Nebraska got to build a significant lead early, and I feel like Nebraska's going to be okay here. I mean, the talent-wise, there's a talent gap in this matchup, obviously. Nebraska is the more talented team in this matchup. This is just FCS North Dakota coming in. But obviously, yeah, it's a crucial game for Nebraska to get things right and get things on track. So that said, let's get to the prediction here for North Dakota and Nebraska. I'm picking Nebraska. I'm going to say 48-17 in this matchup. So I think Nebraska does take care of North Dakota pretty handily in this matchup. I am allowing North Dakota to get 17 points in this matchup. I think offensively, North Dakota is they'll be a decent team in the FCS this season. So, I mean, I think 17 points is within reason, especially considering Nebraska allowed some trash points to Northwestern last week per se. Some points that definitely should not have happened. And Nebraska on defense last week was sloppy to say the least. So I think Nebraska does allow a couple of touchdowns here, but in the end, offensively, they take care of it. They win the game 48-17. So I'm going to say 90% towards the Cornhuskers. Over-under is 49 for this matchup. I'll take the over for this one, and I'm pretty confident taking the over for this. I will say that. I think, I mean, even if Nebraska scores, say, 42 points in this matchup, I mean, I definitely see North Dakota scoring 10-17 here. So, I mean, unless you expect it to be really defensive, low-scoring game, which I definitely do not, I think one of these teams, which probably is going to be Nebraska, is going to score over 35, over 40. You can take that to mind. So I've got Nebraska covering the spread and taking the over in the end here. 48-17 is the final score. So obviously, once again, the main thing, Nebraska just got to take the lead early, take control of this game early, and they should be okay. But once again, those close games just absolutely brutal for Nebraska. They got to get out of that too. I mean, you're not going to be playing. I mean, you're going to be playing a lot of close games in the season. That's how the Big Ten is. So I mean, you got to win those close games. It's just how it has to be if you want to be a contender in the Big Ten and winning Big Ten titles, Big Ten West titles as well. But that's it. Let me know your thoughts and comments below on this game, and I appreciate you guys watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.